Let's get to transfer rumours then, and we must start with Mo Salah here. And two parts to this as well, because obviously the transfer window is closing on Friday, well, in Europe. Rumours going around that Al Ittihad are preparing a bid of 130 million for the player. These rumours coming around. Liverpool obviously been asked about this and have talked about it. Liverpool have pretty much slammed the door shut on him leaving in terms of what we've heard from them. Jurgen Klopp has said that he's not for sale at any price, and Liverpool are refusing to acknowledge pretty much any approaches, saying that no bid has materialised right now. Where do you stand on this whole situation? Because I spoke to Stevie Nicol about this on ESPN FC. Obviously, we know his links with Liverpool. He said for that type of money, you should be letting Mo Salah go. Do you really think that at this stage of the transfer window with the season already away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about, because I mean, if Jurgen says no, he may stay. To me, it's a question. What would I do? Forget where we are in the window, right? I mean, if it comes up, and I guess if he wants to go, then I would sell him. But I would sell him anyway. And this has nothing to do, if I think that Mo Salah is a good player, is he past it? I don't think that, but I just think it's almost time. I think, and look, by the way, when it comes to the moment, right now, at this moment, look how perception, how game change, everything you think about a club, a player, or they may or may not do, right? Against Newcastle, I'll tell you, had they lost that game, as they probably should, at St. James's, 1-0 down, men down and all of that, I think if Liverpool lost that game, this is a different conversation even with that, because I think Salah deep down, and I'm reading into his mind, would be even more frustrated. I think everybody would start looking around and saying, "Ooh, this is going to be a tough one," right? So look, I let it go. I'd let him go if it's 130 or 150, because I think, look, I mean, that cycle, there's a rebuild, one that I don't even think that Liverpool was counting on. First Sadio Mane, then Bobby Firmino, they knew that, right? Then Fabinho and Henderson probably didn't count on both going. Maybe one, maybe not even one. And I just think that for that kind of money, you can go a long way. And the reason I also say for that is that I don't necessarily like Mo Salah's body language. Look, before this game, Darwin Núñez, I had big questions, but he did come good with 2 goals. He is not playing mainly because defensively, Jurgen Klopp still doesn't like what he does, and he doesn't do what he wants. So that's the main reason. But there's always an issue because you feel that Salah's undroppable. We saw that one moment in the game when he came off and he wasn't happy. Klopp had a real go at him. I mean, there's no questions about that. No player wants to come off. But I think that Mo Salah makes it nearly impossible. I almost feel that because he's such a star and such a great player, he holds Klopp hostage to a certain degree. I think he does. He has to start. He has to play most of the game. And here you are, having Darwin Núñez, who I think maybe with that little momentum, if you just invested in him, on the left, I wouldn't. On that right, he looked pretty good, right? He can play through center. We all know it. There's Jota there. There's Gakpo that's been pushed into the midfield. I'm not necessarily convinced because he had to be, but there's just fighting for places. And yet Mo Salah, if he plays great or not, has to be there. I just wonder if at this stage of Liverpool, where there's definite rebuild, there needs to be a rebuild. We'll talk about it later in Premier League Express, so please stay with us. At 130, 150 million, I would, because I think Liverpool is going to come to that point sooner rather than later. I just think that there's part of Mo Salah that would want to go as well. So I wouldn't bypass this chance.
It is a precarious point in the season that was mentioned. The other transfer talk, it's actually Lukaku going to Roma on loan to work under Jose Mourinho again. They've agreed an £8 million season-long loan deal with him. Do you think this is a good fit for him? We know Mourinho really cares for and likes this player, was with him during his Chelsea reign, was with him at Manchester United. He said at Chelsea, he was still maturing. At United, he was still developing. And he's talked before a couple of years ago about how Romelu Lukaku needs to feel loved and needs to feel respected as a player. And that's why we saw him at his best at Inter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember seeing him at his best with Mourinho. Maybe. I mean, these two deserve each other.
No, but that's the whole point, because he was saying that under Mourinho was saying he wasn't the finished article yet when he was working with him.
Okay, well, he wants to feel loved. Everybody wants to feel loved. We all know that. But I mean, he had plenty of love at Inter, and yet somehow the moment Juventus kind of said, "Hey, we want you," he was willing to leave. After, remember, crying at Chelsea that he wants to go back to Inter, apologizing to Inter fans, after initially leaving. Remember all that saga. Look, I mean, as a player, I mean, I think he's proven enough to say that he's a he can be a good goal scorer in the right environment. Is Roma the right place? It may be. I don't think he's got that many options, to be fair. Let's be honest. I mean, we have taken a bet on Romelu Lukaku Inter twice. For some reason, he wanted to leave because there's some more money somewhere else on the table. I don't know what to make of Lukaku. I think he's inconsistent, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch in particular. I'm going to stop short of questioning his character because I don't know him, but all this movement that we've seen from him where he can't settle anywhere, how much development does he need? So maybe he is the finished article right now. What does that mean for Roma? They're getting a very, very good striker who probably is downgrading. That's not a knock on Roma necessarily. But I mean, if you're in the Premier League, you had Chelsea and Manchester United, you had Inter after such a successful season, right? I mean, you kind of, I don't know, does Romelu Lukaku know what he wants? We'll see. It's not going to be that much easier for Mourinho. He loves him today. Give it 2 or 3 bad games. We'll see how much Mourinho loves him.
Yeah, let's see. The Roma fans will love him. They'll definitely make him feel the love. So we'll see if that helps.
Great team, but they're probably worried themselves a little bit. Which Romelu Lukaku they're going to get?
Joao Felix to Barcelona. Is this going to happen? Apparently, it's all set for him anyway, that he's got a second plan. If it doesn't happen for him to go to Barcelona, he'll go to Saudi Arabia. That's what the latest is saying. In terms of the Barcelona move, do you think it would be a good one?
Well, I don't see how that's possible. The amount of money he costs, the amount of money he's making, and with Barcelona having obviously financial problems. So I've read a lot. I mean, it's not going to happen outright on some sort of a loan, and Atleti paying half his wages and everything else. Maybe. I mean, in terms of what suits him, I could see him being successful because I mean, so far, he's been in 2 environments that were kind of never going to work, were they? Right? I mean, I don't really know how he got to Atleti with Cholo Simeone. Certainly, Cholo Simeone probably didn't sanction this to begin with because he's not the type of player, he's not the type of character that we all know Cholo Simeone wants, and the type of player, and just the style of play for Atleti. It's not, he doesn't fit the profile. Then Chelsea, obviously, the moment he got there, changing of coaches, changes of ownership, that's been a disaster. So he came in where there were too many players in the squad and always rotated, started his life at Chelsea relatively well, but that fizzled out. So I'm only going to say that it could work at Barcelona because it fits his profile, but I mean, he hasn't proven anything to me yet.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.